guys, welcome back to the Elephant in the Room podcast. I'm Dakota.
I'm Steven.
It has been quite some time since our last episode. We have been quite busy. Like I said in the last little update video, no, we did not Jeffrey Epstein ourselves. I don't think Hillary Clinton knows about this channel yet, so we're going to keep it that way for as long as possible. There is quite a long list of things to talk about today. So, I guess we'll get started with Joe Biden and what's going on with him, his campaign, and his son Hunter Biden.
Yeah, he's got an absolute mess on his hands because they've now found some very sensitive material on Hunter's laptop. Who, he left it, as I understand, on a hotel bed after being strung out on coke, because that's what Hunter does. And they found some child porn on there, and some emails that had to do with the whole Russia situation, where he was extorting people for money so that he could get it for Joe.
Yep. So, Rudy Giuliani was the one who had handed over the hard drive, and the feds already had a hold of his laptop. And like Steven said, they found child porn, they found inappropriate text messages between Hunter Biden and minors, and they were, of course, also thrown up in that email situation. So, with that being said, the Joe Biden campaign has pretty much shut down any appearances because they, instead of going out there and defending Hunter Biden like they quote, should have been doing, they rather just save face and not show up in the public. So I feel like the closer that we get to Election Day, the more any chances that these left-wing liberals and Democrats want Joe Biden to have to win is just continuing to slip out of their grasp. It's not going to happen. There are several models and several predictions coming out that Trump's going to get well over 300, and we've both said it on here. Yeah, I think that he can. I really, really want to see, out of any of the states that he could flip, it would definitely be Virginia, because the Virginia state legislation is just, it's not good. It's Democrat-led, and several situations have actually come about out of Virginia here as of recent times. They are no longer allowing police officers to stop somebody for not having functioning taillights, for not having working headlights for at night. They can't stop them for other traffic violations, and that's going to cause somebody their life. Really, that's going to cause somebody to have a horrible accident, and it's going to be on the Virginia governor's hands at that point. Really, like I said, Ralph Northam is nothing but a tyrant and a self-centered person. Really. So I guess we'll see that how well that's going to play out for them, and see how long that they're going to have that happen until blood ends up on Ralph Northam's hands. So in more recent news, the NFAC, the Not Fudging Around Coalition, has made the news and headlines yet again. One was because during a rally in Louisiana, they called for a, and I quote, separatist black nation state.
Wakanda.
Yeah, really. And, of course, their loved and held to high standards leader, Grandmaster Jay, was the one who put out that statement. And along with that, they just had another shooting where they, one of the NFAC members decided to pop off around into somebody's stomach. You can find the video online of what happened, what transpired. He was promptly arrested, and the gentleman who was arrested, his name was Terrence Jones. Now, you may be wondering, oh, well, he's just going to be charged with firearms crimes. No, he's not, because he was a convicted felon. In fact, the leader, Grandmaster Jay, again, decided to come out and go, oh, he's not part of NFAC. No, he's not one of ours. But he was there with a rifle. He was there with all black. He was hanging out with that group. So, 2 plus 2 equals 4. All right, it's not hard to figure out.
Or if you're Obama, 2 plus 2 equals whatever you want it to be.
This is true. So
2 plus 2 equals tyranny.
So, Grandmaster Jay, if this video ever makes it to you and you ever happen to find yourself here on this page, is it the reason that you don't want to admit that he was, in fact, a part of NFAC was because he shot somebody and you're just trying to save face? Are you just not wanting to take responsibility for your lack of discipline, training, and firearms knowledge? Please, feel free to comment, and if you happen to come across this video and you want to call us out in one of yours, we'll come right back for you.
Well, you're clearly a clown because you make these videos and you get on there and you pretend like you know how firearms work. You bang it on the table and say that, oh, the shot's going to come out. It doesn't. And now you're shooting. This is how many incidents have they had now?
I think this is the second or third incident now.
You're shooting your own people because you're retarded. I mean, what is the deal with this NFAC coalition? These people are clearly a danger to themselves and others.
Yeah. You want these people to enact red flag laws so badly about how people might pose a danger to themselves or the public. What about them? Why aren't you wanting them to take over and, have the police come out and do the red flag seizures there? Because it's not, it's not about them, and if they did it, oh, the police are racist, they don't want blacks exercising their Second Amendment rights. No, we don't want blacks wrongfully and dangerously exercising their Second Amendment rights, shooting people. It's not hard. That goes for whites, blacks, Hispanics, Asians, anybody else, really. It doesn't matter. If you're not able to handle a firearm properly, you should not have possession of it, period. Especially in a public manner.
Absolutely.
So, rolling on, a former Democrat nominee, I think he was running for like a mayor's spot or a place on a council, Matt Trowbridge, he tried to meet up with a minor for sexual activity, and he was found out by a guy who was a pedophile hunter and somebody who goes out and creates fake online profiles of underage kids and goes out and finds these people and makes them known publicly that they are a predator. So Matt Trowbridge decided to send explicit photos and explicit messages to this other guy posing as the underage child, and they met up and he was thrown out under the bus publicly and his face was plastered all over the place.
Yeah, there's a clear epidemic of pedophilia going on that's really disgusting, and obviously it goes all the way up to the top because, you've got, Hunter Biden clearly implicated. I'm sure Joe Biden, I have to say allegedly because, nothing's come out about him officially yet, but I'm sure there's evidence of Joe Biden involved, some way along the line, so these people keep getting caught over and over again, and Trump has been busting these rings and busting these people that are running children, and yet people still will sit there and vote for people like Joe Biden who actively will say that yes, children can get sex change surgeries when they want them as young as 8 years old because that makes sense, and it's just disgusting.
8-year-olds barely have the mental capacity to dress themselves in the morning without having some sort of help, and you want me to believe that they are capable of making that kind of decision of, oh, Mom, I want to have a sex reassignment surgery because I'm not a boy, I'm actually a girl, at the age of 8. Are you kidding me? Seriously? That's like an adult decision that you should be making as an adult. Because it's not the kid making those decisions. Hell no. That's the parents, 100%. And it's kind of disturbing, and it's honestly not okay that you would take your kid's childhood away from them as a little boy or a little girl and then reassign their genders.
It really should be considered child abuse, because it harms them psychologically and physically in a way that is, unnecessary and unneeded at an age like that. And the thing about it is that when you say that children as young as 8 can get sex reassignment surgery, or whatever they're calling it now, you're then saying that they're able to make adult decisions, and you're now okaying it for the pedophiles to go and do what they're going to do. So it's a slippery slope that they try to introduce slowly, but you have to be aware of these things.
Yeah. And, it's one thing after another with these Democrat-led places and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris wanting to run the country. They want to legalize pedophilia. They want to allow kids at 8 to get gender reassignment surgeries. They want all these things to happen, and the list can go on and on. But they don't care about what's actually going to happen. You're going to scar these kids physically and emotionally because you're not giving them the time to age and mature properly. At that young of an age, you still got, everything's still developing. Everything is still going into motion for them to transfer into young adulthood and then to actually adulthood. So you're not letting those things happen, which is going to cause a chemical imbalance in the body, and that can cause serious complications, medically, physically, mentally, and it's not a good idea. So next on today's long list of topics, the NFL is back in the public eye again. Probably about 2-3 weeks ago, Roger Goodell put out a statement, and it was a long, just rambling on. But the main part that he wanted to express, that is, if you are against Black Lives Matter and you don't like the players kneeling at the football games during the national anthem, that you're a racist. What proof do you have that makes me a racist, or that makes Steven a racist, or anybody else for that matter a racist, just by saying, oh, you don't support Black Lives Matter, you must be a racist? Well, last time I checked, I didn't have a white hood and a white robe hanging up in my closet going out and burning crosses in the front yards of these people. And it's coming from the people who make millions and millions and millions of dollars each and every game to chase a ball, and they're the ones that are complaining the most. You look at Colin Kaepernick, you look at Oprah, you look at Tyler Perry, you look at Roger Goodell. These are all people who are out there putting their necks out for this domestic terrorist organization, going, oh, well, if you don't like Black Lives Matter, you must be a racist, and if you don't do this or that, then you won't make it in this country, and you can't make it in this country if you're black because, everybody's being oppressed and put down. This is coming from people who are paid millions of dollars and have over thousands of dollars in cars, over hundreds of thousands of dollars in vacation houses, in jewelry, in actual houses, and it's all really ridiculous.
Yeah, the idea that, Roger Goodell is going to speak out and start calling people racist is hilarious, considering the fact that, LeBron James did the same thing to his fans, and the NBA is lower on viewership, I think, than Animal Planet or something ridiculous. Actually, no, I'm sorry, it was golf. The NBA is worse in viewership than golf. The people that go to these stadiums and spend the money and buy these jerseys and buy the overpriced food and the terrible seats, they're people of all different colors and everything, and they don't care who, what color the player is. That they'll still buy the jersey. They'll still support the team and things like that. Nobody that is a sports fan is a racist. That's like a Saturday Night Live skit or something, like a racist football fan or something. But and Roger Goodell is such a weak commissioner. He's so weak on everything, and the second you hurl any criticism at him, he folds like a piece of paper. And so his opinion as far as politics and race is concerned is nothing.
Yeah. And speaking about people in higher positions and getting paid millions of dollars and having political opinions, Troy Aikman and Joe Buck had a little hot mic moment the other day. It was probably Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football, one of the two. And they were speaking about the military flyovers at the start of each game. Since they won't air the national anthem anymore, these two overpaid clowns decided it was a good idea to voice their political opinions on open mics at an NFL game. Now, am I saying that it's illegal and it's a crime for you to voice your opinion? No, absolutely not. However, these two geniuses are being paid to commentate a football game. Not the jets flying overhead, not our national anthem being sung at the beginning of the games. You can have your opinions, but don't bring them into your workplace. Okay, you all are sitting there going, oh, that's a waste of money, and there's your hard-earned tax dollars at work. And one of them made the comment that wouldn't happen under a Biden and Harris ticket. So it was real easy to figure out who they want in office. But it's not necessary. It was unnecessary. And they were talking on this open mic like they knew it was going on, and they knew that was going to be broadcast over live air. I feel like they knew it, and they just don't care.
Yeah, well, Troy Aikman always struck me as just a mental midget. He always struck me as an idiot. And you see it here with his views. Oh, it's going to waste your tax dollars, and it'll never happen under a Biden-Harris presidency. Well, Troy Aikman doesn't have to worry about taxes because Troy Aikman probably has a foundation that he funnels money through to get himself. Joe Buck is equally as much of a stuck-up dumbass as Trevor Noah. And he, every time when I would watch football, I would always dread getting a Joe Buck game because I'd have to listen to him drone on and on about things that don't matter, just like Joe Biden.
Yeah. No, and that's actually a pretty good comparison there, Stephen. I mean, you're being paid to commentate a football game. If I'm in my car listening to the game, I want to know what's going on the field because I can't see it. Not hear you ramble and moan and bitch and whine and complain about what's going on in the world. Football, in a sense, is an escape from the real world problems. But when you bring the real world problems into the NFL, or you bring politics into it, i.e. Kaepernick kneeling or the rest of these clowns doing it, or, protesting and oh, well, we're all in this together, and they're getting paid multi-million dollars per game, it really infuriates me, honestly. I don't get it. It's, like I said, it's an escape from reality. We don't want to hear that stuff when we're watching a football game. Okay? If we want to watch, politics, or we want to hear about the news, we'll look up the news, we'll watch a news channel, something like that. It's not meant to be brought in to a professional sports game. That's not what these clowns are being paid to do.
Well, speaking of real world, we have Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yes.
Getting the charges dropped from him, on him because they found that constitutionally he was well within his rights to defend himself from lunatic Antifa attackers.
Yes. Lake County, Illinois is not pursuing charges. We have not heard anything out of Kenosha, but since Lake County is not pursuing any charges, there's there's no solid evidence for a prosecution to build a case on. It's nothing. All right, it's it's like you're trying to build a house on a sandy hillside. Okay, that sand comes down. Whatever defense they're going to try to build will come crashing down on top of them, and it's going to be an embarrassment to the prosecuting attorneys. So, thank you to Lake County. We're all in agreement here with you. Kyle Rittenhouse is not a murderer. He is not a white supremacist. He is not a terrorist. He is not a neo-Nazi. He is a patriot of this country who has done nothing but defend himself and has had his name and anything that was associated with him torn up, tossed through a wood chipper, spit out, and smeared all over social media and all over the national news networks, and it's a disgrace. And I hope, because Joe Biden, and you'll see where I'm going with this story, Joe Biden ran a smear campaign on Kyle Rittenhouse, called him a white supremacist, said that he was nothing but a terrorist, and now they're suing. Alright, Kyle Rittenhouse and his lawyers are suing Joe Biden because all they did was run another smear campaign against Kyle Rittenhouse. And I hope he wins. And the further that we get, the closer that we get, to Election Day, the worse and worse and worse the Democrats are becoming. Alright, between the smear campaigns, between the lies, between the truths being unburied and being brought to the light, the Democratic Party in this election is fading real fast.
The Democratic Party is a complete joke. It's full of, pedophiles and evildoers, globalists, and America haters. And, this is just yet another example of the Constitution defeating them, which is why they hate it so much.
Yep.
And, you have these instances where, they just keep overreaching. They keep trying to do things that they don't have powers granted to them to do. And this is what it would be under a Biden ticket. Just an absolute mess of a government, an absolute mishandling of almost everything, and, constitutional overreach like you've never seen.
Yeah. Well, speaking of constitutional overreach, Stephen, we had something came up in my newsfeed the other day, and I read into it and found out what it was. Biden and Kamala Harris want to repeal the PLCAA. Now, you may be asking, what is that? Well, it's pretty much a law that's in place, or a bill that's in place, preventing people who were involved in a gun crime or a shooting of some sort, to prevent them from being able to sue the gun manufacturing companies and or the NRA, because the NRA and these gun manufacturing companies do not condone the violence that is committed with these firearms. However, if that was repealed, people would be open to suing the places like Ruger, Colt, Glock, Sig Sauer, all these other places. And, that's not going to be good. It's like sitting here and suing car companies like Ford or Chevy, Dodge, GMC, and, all the other car companies for when somebody's killed in a DUI crash. They weren't responsible for what their car was used for. It's the unfortunate situations that happen like that, but they have no legal ties to that, because once that gun hits the streets and it's bought at a gun store, they have no control of what that person who bought that firearm does with it. So, speaking a little bit more about Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's disaster of a presidential run, they announced a tax increase plan on states when they get into office. They want to tax places like California, New York, and a whole bunch of other places, Illinois, and they want to increase taxes by like 60, 65, 63%. Huge tax hikes. And for what reason? and they want the power. That's what this is about for them. They want the power so they can bring their socialist acts in here, act like it's a dictatorship, and tell people how to live their lives.
Yeah, it's at this point, Joe Biden, because several times they've asked him about the Green New Deal and whether he supports it, and he goes, "Oh no, I have my own deal. You can go on my website that I can't remember the name of, and check it out." And it's literally a copy and paste of like Bernie Sanders' Green New Deal. And so he supports it, and the Green New Deal is, the banning of air travel, killing livestock, tax hikes, the like of which you've never seen, almost 90% tax hikes, to support the government apparatus, which is a socialist, communistic, system in nature, and, to pretend like that's not the scam that they're running is absolutely, foolish.
Yeah, I was raised up in a family that it's okay to go out here and it's okay to work for your money, to do with your money what you want, to be able to have your own opinions and voice them, and be your own person. Don't let a group of people control you. But with a Biden-Harris ticket going into office, it'll become a communist dictatorship and the likes of this world has never seen. You think Cuba's bad? It's going to be nothing compared to what they're going to do to this country. And it's scary. It's a scary thing to think about. And if it happens, people in this country are going to die. And that's not even a joke. There will be a depression of the likes of this world has never seen before. You think the depression back in the 20s was bad, or the recession when Obama was in office was bad? It's going to be even worse. And it's just because Joe Biden and Kamala Harris want to grab D.C. by the throat and strangle this country at its head and destroy what everybody in the past generations have worked for to build.
Yes, and the thing about it is that, a lot of people are going to die at the hands of other Americans. Joe Biden's not going to do anything about that. Trump at the very least is having the National Guard go into these places and try and put down the resistance as best he can without invoking the military. But Joe Biden will not even do that. If you expect that Joe Biden's government's going to do anything except hunt down patriots and watch the country burn, they won't. Inactivity will be the name of the game with Joe Biden.
Oh yeah, and he wants to talk this game about seizing firearms and punishing people for doing the right thing and defending themselves. People like me are going to end up behind bars if we come face to face with a decision in Biden's America that we have to defend ourselves, and we're going to go to federal prisons. And I don't want that. I want to be able to know that I can defend myself and not have to run away and, hide in a corner like some of these people out here like to do. That I want to be able to know that I can go out here, be okay, and that if somebody attacks me or my family, that I can defend myself. But in Joe Biden's America, that's not going to happen. Because when I pull that trigger, I'm now the criminal. It doesn't matter what that other guy was doing or what he did. I'm now the bad guy.
Yes. Any kind of self-defense will go out the window. You'll have activist judges like you've never seen. People being locked up. The McCloskeys in Missouri, they're being, I believe they're having their court case brought up because they defended themselves from a giant mob of Antifa people. They stood out in their front lawn with their guns and told them to go away, and they're the ones in trouble.
Yep.
So any kind of self-defense, any kind of lawful, protection will go out the door.
Yep. All these things like stand your ground, castle doctrine. in Biden's America, homeboy kicks your door in at 2:30 in the morning, you're going to be expected to throw your hands up and go, take what you want. No, I don't want to be a victim. I'm not going to let myself become a victim. I don't want my family victimized. I want a leader that's going to go, yes, he did the right thing. He defended himself. He has done nothing wrong. And go on with my life. But in Joe Biden's America, I'm going to go to jail. And his family, whoever decided to kick in my door or decided to attack me or my family, is going to get a payday out of it.
Yep.
And that's not going to fly. So, the Second Amendment, your self-defense rights are very, very important. They were written on the Constitution of the United States because our forefathers knew. They knew that something like this, probably not in their time, was going to happen. And they wanted people to be able to defend themselves, defend their homesteads, defend their ranches, their businesses, whatever the case it may have been. They wanted people to be able to defend them and be okay to do so under the preamble of law. Another little gaffle that Joe Biden did, he was at a town hall or something, some meeting of his 6 or 8 people who show up. He was seen using a teleprompter, and the video is surfaced on the internet. He's sitting there trying to keep up reading with it, and it's just rolling on. He's just like having a mini stroke on stage or something. You got to get him some medical attention.
This last debate is going to be fun.
Oh, I am looking forward to it. And because in this next debate, it's going to be online. It's going to have the person who's not having their 2 minutes muted. And that's going to leave Joe Biden to fend for himself. And I cannot wait to see that.
Yes, but the only problem is he's going to have his handlers in there with him.
Oh, yeah.
Making sure that he doesn't completely collapse.
He's still going to struggle.
And, I hope that Trump doesn't get too argumentative. I hope that he kind of lets Joe Biden hang himself with his own words. But if he can do that, Joe Biden will hang himself.
Oh, yes.
The gaffe that we mentioned, he said that he's running for the Senate.
Yep.
Not the presidency. And so, it's another of the longest, another of a long line of gaffes by him. And, Kamala Harris can do all the damage control she wants.
Yeah.
Joe Biden is a mess. And, again, we're excited to see the debate, see how things go, but, good Lord, Joe Biden's a mess. I mean, that's really all you can say. He's a mess, and I don't even expect that he would finish his presidency. I think that within 6 months, Kamala Harris would be thrust into the role after they either he is set aside because he's unable to do the task, or they off him like Nancy Pelosi offed the hair salon lady.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that poor lady lost her business and then was found outside the pizzeria covered in pizza boxes behind the dumpster. So we know about that, guys. So people aren't dumb. They're not. And then when they were asked about it, they go, "We don't know what you're talking about. I've never heard of her before."
Well,
just a couple weeks ago. Yeah, you never heard of her because she turned up dead. So, watch your backs, guys. Here in the past couple weeks, a lot of big celebrity names have endorsed Donald Trump for president. Ice Cube. And I think 2 or 3 days ago, 50 Cent also endorsed Donald Trump for president. Because he's seen the tax plans and all these other things that Joe Biden wants to happen, and he doesn't want that. So you've got a list that's just continuing to compile of even these big, Hollywood stars endorsing Donald Trump for president. Now, one of the biggest mistakes made by a name that every household knows thanks to the Fast and Furious legacies, we've got Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, as his WWE name went. he decided to endorse Joe Biden and Kamala Harris for president. And, I used to think that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was a man of common sense and common knowledge, and apparently he's just jumping on the train, and it's embarrassing. It really is.
He's, the thing about The Rock is, he likes to run around and say that he's a centrist. And you have to watch these people that say they're centrists all the time because, they say, "Oh, I'm a centrist," and you look at their voting record, and all they've done is vote blue their entire life.
Right.
So, you're not a centrist. You're a weak Democrat. But Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, he is another one of these that, "Oh, I'm a centrist," and I don't know if he's voted for Republicans or anything in the past, but you want to say you're a centrist and then endorse Joe Biden and Kamala Harris after you say, "Oh, Kamala Harris is a boss lady," you have your little Zoom call with them, and it's like that was the cringiest thing ever. It was almost
embarrassing.
It was embarrassing. It was almost as cringy as Joe Biden's interview with Cardi B. I mean, that was awful too. But The Rock thinking that his political opinions matter too. It's like, what is with these people that think that we care? We don't. I was not waiting for The Rock to endorse Trump or Biden. I'm not concerned about The Rock. But there are people with common sense. Apparently 50 Cent has some semblance of sense. And The Rock doesn't.
Yeah. On a much more national headline, China has decided in the last probably 2-3 days now, they are talking about invading Taiwan. Now, one of several things is going to happen. Taiwan's going to stand up and go, "F you, China," and they're going to have a very nasty surprise waiting for the Chinese when they try to come into their country. 2, China's going to go through with this. Taiwan's going to put up a fight long enough to have our U.S. military come in and lay hell down on top of China. Or 3, this is nothing more than talk, and China just wants to act big and bad. But I don't know, and I can't talk about this too much because I don't know how the Chinese leader works. He's a little bit, couple screws loose up top. So I don't know how this is going to play out. Right now, everybody's playing it by ear. Right now, they're just talking about it. They haven't started moving troops anywhere. But like I said, there are less than 5,000 troops in the Middle East, which means a lot of our troops are back home on military bases, ready to deploy at any given time. And I tell you what, when you hear the roar of a C-5 and C-130s and Apache attack helicopters coming, you know there's a can of whoop-ass getting ready to be opened.
Yes, hopefully, you hope that China is just, playing around, that playing this game where they think that they're powerful. But you also hope that we don't have to step in or do anything like that, because the next step of that is total war between us and China and all of our allies and such. I have confidence that Trump would take steps not to start a war of that scale, because that's not what he really is about.
Now, if it was Obama, my God, we would have troops sitting at the Chinese borders ready to attack.
If it was Hillary, we were already in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you hope that those steps don't get taken, because it would absolutely be hundreds of thousands of lives lost. But the Chinese are also a bit of a paper tiger. They like to play these games where they do a lot of posturing and maneuvering, but really they're not really about it. And I think Trump would has enough experience dealing with them to know that that's what's going on. So we'll see how that develops.
China and North Korea are almost similar in a way. You see on the news quite frequently these huge, massive military parades that go on. And they are coming out with these huge, like, 30-tire trucks, and they have big-ass warheads. I can guarantee you 9 times out of 10, those are nothing more than aluminum shells. All they're doing is wanting to show off and, flex their muscles and go, oh, you can't F with us. And the United States doesn't have to do that. Because the United States, as Donald Trump says, we control the air, land, and sea. And we will do it. He took the proper steps until Iran pushed a little too far, and then he unleashed hell on Iran. And you see that they've been quiet. So Trump does not want to send us into a war. I am now at the age that, yes, I can be, if something happens and they bring back the draft, I can be pulled into the military. I don't want to go over there. My friends don't want to go over there. We don't want to fight, As much as we would love to defend this country, we don't want to do it unnecessarily. So an unnecessary conflict with China is the last thing that this country needs right now, especially with the way things have been going recently.
Yes.
So anyway, guys, we are still going through with our Election Day coverage. We are looking forward to that. We are looking forward to doing that for you guys. We will be talking about states. We will be talking about states that we did not expect to be flipped the way they were. We'll have some, oh, we called that moments. And we will be announcing up until the moment that they make the final call. And, amongst that, we're going to keep going on with our podcast. We're going to keep bringing you guys up-to-date content. Again, we're sorry that we haven't had a video recently. We've had a lot going on here. But we appreciate you guys' patience. We appreciate you guys supporting the channel, getting our names out there, spreading the word, spreading the message, and, keep America great, guys.
Keep America great.
And we'll catch you on the next one.